Hey everyone, this is Tony Chiappetto Shoes. This is Workshop Live. It's been a while. We're going to get back into the swing of things. We are talking to you guys about orthotic modifications for over-the-counter inserts and custom inserts. Today we have a lovely customer with a C13 foot type. That is a quadristep foot typing system. Bam, right there. We got a C13. Real rigid rear foot, slightly flexible forefoot. This customer has been working with us for a number of years. Last year we started with custom orthotics. She had tried Birkenstock inserts in the past. They worked pretty well, but she has an incredibly skinny foot. Now, C13 foot types, you'll notice that there's a sizable cavus setup to it. So the rear foot itself doesn't have much ground contact on the lateral aspect of the foot. And for our custom orthotic, we've got a nice 4-layer insert. We have it wrapped on the side, but we have a cork and crepe rubber base to this. Nice EVA top cover with a little pour-on in the middle. This setup we've had for a while. The left side's relatively happy. We added a little 1/8 inch pour-on heel pad here. On the right side, that's the tricky part. We have had some issues with pressure on the cuboid area, which is kind of an odd spot. With the C13 foot type, her rear foot has about somewhere around a 15 to 20 degree inversion or a rear foot varus alignment. So you have this kind of real rigid pounding in the heel area. You tend to get a lot of supinatory issues, and typically with the impression method, depending on the impression method of the orthotic, you're going to get a high cavus area on the lateral aspects. You always got to be careful with C9s and C13s. They're the tricky ones. So on this orthotic, we have a little modification on the outside with a cuboid bar, and then the 5th met base is where we have this little cutout. Now, problematic spot for today. What we've got is she's a super skinny foot, and we have had some major callus issues on the big toe, both right at the tip, right at the front, bottom, and side. And this thing is about 1/8 of an inch. It's super thick. It's very irritable because it's gotten to the inner layer of the skin. The outer layer, the keratonin layer, is or keratotic layer, doesn't really have any nerve endings in the outer layer of your skin, so you don't typically feel that when you build up a callus. But the problem is when it builds up so thick that it gets into the inner layer of the skin, it gets close to the nerves, close to the bones, especially the big toe. You're going to function and push off of that. With the C13 foot type, there's a slight 4-foot varus, probably usually what I would like to say in the range of like a 4 to 8 degree 4-foot varus. So you have a little bit of mobility there. So rigid in the rear foot, slightly flexible in the forefoot. So you get this rotational aspect. What we've done in the past, because we wanted to add a little cushion, is we did a cutout and added SR pour-on, the softer mint stuff. Great stuff from Acor Orthopedic. So that's worked out pretty well, but within the past, I would say 7 or 8 months, she has been having issues where this callus is really building up. You can feel a pretty thick indentation right where that sits on the orthotic. So we were chatting a little bit, and we've got this started up. We've got 2 things we're going to try today. We're going to add what I consider like a belly pad onto the bottom of the orthotic. She's got such a skinny foot that no matter what shoe she's wearing, she doesn't have really good fit, wholly because of the skinniness. So we're adding what I call a belly pad to the bottom here. Now this isn't common, and typically, like I talked about before, the lateral aspect of the arch contour, we have to be careful about how much we're loading up in that spot. We're using a P-cell material that's about as soft as you can get from the foam standpoint. So we're filling this up with a softer layer. We don't want to actually add any contour. We're just looking for a little extra oomph from a fit perspective. So we got that right there. And main issue that you're dealing with today is we're looking at the callus spot. This customer is going to be going to some sort of vacation where she's doing a lot of walking, and she wants to make sure that she has her ducks in a row, so her feet are going to be happy for that. All right, so we've got this base layer. We're doing this for fit purposes. When you have that rotational aspect on that big toe and that major nasty callus building up, sometimes for skinnier feet, there can definitely be a fit component to this. So this is the first setup that we're doing. Now we just want to taper this off. Okay, so here's the orthotics. We have a little belly pad, P-cell material, soft, not trying to add firm pressure to it. We're just adding for a little bit of a fit factor. Now, main thing that we're doing, we have a 4-foot varus, just a slight one. When we talk about 4-foot wedging, to correct a 4-foot varus, you're going to push up on the lateral aspect because you're forcing the foot to the other direction. If we're going to do a 4-foot medial wedge, that's accommodating. So we have this rotation on this big toe. We got this big nasty callus right in that spot there. We're going to look at wedging that 4-foot. So we just stop the foot prematurely from rotating too much. Now, how you do that is important. We want to start at about, I typically say, about an inch or so behind the first met base. And we want to graduate it from the second toe where we have a full concentration of material up under the first ray through the toe. So we're going to block it off like that, and we're going to graduate it. So we're really focusing on this area here, and you can kind of see the pressure points. That's where that callus is. So, you know, you might think we have pressure, we have a callus built up. We want to help offload that. You're not wrong in thinking that by any means. But I think the bigger problem with this callus in particular is that we have a rotational force that's driving this buildup. And the body's protecting itself when we're building a callus, and calluses form because of friction and pressure. So we love using scraps. We got our scrap pile right here. Let's see what we got. It's always good to reduce, reuse, and recycle, right? All right, so we got this big gnarly callus. Now, what are we gonna do with it? We're bringing the ground up to the foot by adding a medial 4-foot wedge, right? The key with this is proper setup from a finishing perspective, making sure that we do the best job blending this in so it feels as comfortable as possible. We don't want any firm ridges. And I think this is gonna be good. This customer is going on her vacation 1st of July, and I think it's going to give us enough wiggle room to test this out over the next week or so. Okay, so we got that. Now, we'll get these glued up. So, one thing to point out, with calluses, very common, flat feet can have them, high arches can have them, typically because of the mechanics and the differences of different types of feet. We have different spots on the foot that get calluses. Now, you know, a good insert is there for proper weight distribution. It's not rocket science. The first principle of a good insert, whether it's custom or over the counter, should be looking at proper weight distribution. Very simple concept. The other things that we talk about when it comes to calluses is something that I get very excited about. It's a product called Brown's Foot Bath. And we're huge fans of Brown's Foot Bath. Huge fans. So much so, you know, I might have some big news in the next 2 months about Brown's Foot Bath. But it's an awesome product. We've sold in our store for over 60 years. Brown's Foot Bath is a combination of Epsom salts, boric acid, and salicylic acid. And it does a fantastic job of eating away dead skin. When we have a big nasty callus like what we're dealing with, I highly advise getting some Browns, soak your feet, do 2-3 nights in a row, and then dial back to like once a week. I got a lot of customers, construction guys, especially in the summertime. You're wearing waterproof boots, you're beating the crap out of your feet. You get a lot of heat and moisture, friction, and pressure. That's the combo that does a number on the feet. So Brown's Foot Bath is a really good way to help you out with that. And yeah, so you know, I'm excited. We got a good summer happening right now. Custom Orthotics, we're jamming on this stuff. We got a lot of good content coming out. We got our 100-year anniversary right there. Boom. We got a contest once a month. We're giving a $100 gift card away for customers that enter. We're doing it on our website, and you guys should check it out. It's definitely once a month. Enter in. Super cool. You answer additional questions, you get extra entries, so a lot of fun. So we have this big callus, right? It's right on that big toe, right on the side. We got a skinny foot, C13 foot type. We're advising on buying some Browns. I think she's going to do it. We are creating a little bit better fit by adding a little belly pad right in the middle of the orthotic. Now we're adding a medial wedge to bring the ground up to the foot. We have a slight varus, 4-foot varus alignment, about 4 to 8 degrees. We're using a material called Microcell Puff by Acor. It's a really good material. We buy it in different colors. The red is a 55 durometer that works excellent for any wedging, both medial and or both rear foot and forefoot. And yeah, 1/8 of an inch should be adequate. Say hi, Joe. Hi. That's Joe. All right. So we have the problem on the right foot. Now you're asking yourselves, why is Tony doing this on both feet? I usually abide by the fact that if we have the same foot type for both feet, any medial or lateral wedging, whether it's forefoot or rear foot, typically should be done on both sides for the sake of congruence. We want to make both sides happy. If there is a difference in mechanical alignments of the feet, say you have a C13 foot type on one side and a B7 on the other, I had one of those the other day, you can address the foot properly, right? You want to address the situation that you're dealing with. Now when you have a difference, there's typically a leg length discrepancy that goes along with it, so be careful about that and always inquire about that. So we're going to blend this up real nice and we're going to be done. there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. We have a 4-foot wedge built in with a slight belly pad. C13 foot type, major callus on that first toe. We're bringing the ground up to the foot. We're stopping that rotation on that first ray and that bone there. We're graduating it from about the middle of the first metatarsal, probably the upper 3/4 of that first metatarsal, through the toe. We typically will blend it just a little. We want to fill it out right there, but just for fit purposes, we'll blend it a little bit extra at that big toe. This has been Workshop Live. Thank you for tuning in, and definitely make sure to stay tuned. All right, have a good one. Ciao.